How many examples of real, happy, long marriages or relationships do you have? If you have none, your examples are going to be Hollywood movies and TV shows and the couples that you see in them. I am Pauline, and I am so happy you are here because those Hollywood movies and TV series are made for entertainment. And yet, from research, it shows that people, women mostly, who love those kinds of movies and TV series, they are very much influenced by what they see and therefore what they believe about relationships. And what is even more interesting is that what you believe about relationships is a very big precursor, predictor for your chances of getting divorced and for your level of happiness within a relationship. So, the more you love romantic movies and have adopted, consciously or unconsciously, your image of what marriage or a long relationship should be from movies or shows, the more you are unhappy and the higher the chances that you will get divorced. That is not what we want. And even though we talk about the fearful avoidant attachment style on this channel a lot, the beliefs that you have heavily influence your relationship. And when you are insecurely attached, maybe even more so, because securely attached people usually have good examples of loving relationships when they grow up, and fearful avoidants tend to not have that. And so your image of loving relationships is probably even more influenced by what you see on TV. So in this video, we are going to talk about Hollywood versus happy relationships. So Hollywood relationships versus happy relationships. And I used to definitely see the movies as that was what was a happy relationship. You know, all the really classical um, movies that depicted true love, or like I thought, Serendipity, You've Got Mail. Those were movies that I loved. There are more. Can't think of all the names now. But I realized as I was healing the fearful avoidant attachment style that my beliefs definitely influenced a lot of what I was experiencing in my relationship, how happy I was. And because of my attachment style, I blamed my partner more than I should have for not being perfect, for not being like in the movies. So, how do Hollywood relationships, what do they look like? First of all, the whole they belong together, you know, the couple belongs together based on the most intense feelings, and most of the time it starts out with hate or dislike for each other, which is very interesting because on the other hand, there's this there's this belief that you have to have love at first sight, otherwise it's not real. So, but the fact that they belong together based on that you have the most intense feelings with somebody, that is actually a pretty dangerous thing to base your relationship on if it's just that. And in movies, what I hate now is that they always have the safe choice and the true love choice. And those always seem to not go together. One of the most prime examples of that is The Notebook, where Ellie chooses Noah over Lon, um, who is the safe choice, but Noah is like the one that gets her, and that is true love, even though they fight all the time. And if you look at the relationship dynamics of her and Lon and her and Noah, the prediction is definitely that her chances of divorce with Noah are super high. And the way her relationship with Lon was is actually a predicting predictor, quite a good prediction for a happy and long marriage. And I just hate the fact that Hollywood movies always depict the safe choice as the wrong choice, the you're settling choice, because that makes you feel like the safe choice is something you shouldn't be doing, even though you need safety as a base to build your relationship on. There is no other base that you can build your relationship on. I could do a whole video on the Notebook, but yeah, the choice is always for true love, and the true love is the most intense feelings, even though it's really, really toxic, and that is just not right. So another thing is that there's always so much drama um, in Hollywood relationships, and that's because it's written for entertainment. It is not written for educational purposes. It's also very intense in love in the beginning, so you have this feeling that in the beginning you have to be completely, utterly obsessed with each other, otherwise it's not true love. There's this idea that love conquers all, like in the example with Ellie and Noah from the Notebook. I think they literally say they didn't agree on much, but they were very much in love. And it's just absolute bullshit. It's not that love conquers all, that you can fight and fight and fight and fight and then expect to still be crazy about each other. The couples that fight a lot, from research, show that they definitely divorce much more. They don't have sex after 10 years. It's just, it doesn't make sense. It's not a good strategy. So love conquers all is just bullshit. You really need to take responsibility for your behavior and act loving. Um, Also, in Hollywood movies, unhealthy dynamics are usually portrayed because that is entertaining. And they are written for entertainment. They are written for entertainment. It's not real life. It's not true real life. And they always end the movie, pretty much all movies end after all the drama, and then they live happily ever after. And you never see how that turns out. It's like they get married and that's it, and then they live happily ever after. And I know that everybody kind of knows that that's not the whole story, but I think so many people still paint that picture in with, oh, and then they're just happy forever and no problems to be had, or they just easily solve all of that because now they are together forever. But it's always after drama, and then it always seems as if from there it's smooth sailing, and it's not. That's not how long happy marriages go. There's so much that can happen in those marriages. So when you then look at happy relationships, long happy marriages, I interviewed 100 couples who have been happily married for over 40 years, and they paint a very different picture, much more down to earth, much more realistic, much better. Um, so what they paint is that, first of all, love is a choice. Like I said, it's not that you have these intense feelings of love and then you can just do whatever you want in a relationship, fight, 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 be blaming, accusing, judgmental, critical, and then expect love to still be there and flourish. Love is a choice. You choose to be loving, and it's a choice you make every single day. It's not something you fall into and then that's it for the rest of your life. It's a conscious choice. And couples who have been married for a long time happily know that feelings come and go. So basing your choice on the most intense feelings, you're gonna have a hard time when those feelings fade, when they are gone for a while. I've interviewed couples that didn't feel anything for a year, for several years, for 7 years, and they made a choice. This is my partner, this is my wife, this is my husband. I am going to invest in this relationship, and my choice is the most important thing. And then feelings follow. So every time I heard a story like this where feelings were just gone for a long time, they chose the partner anyway, sometimes just out of sheer determination and because they made a vow and they didn't want to break that. They didn't expect love to come back, but love came back. They chose the partner, they invested in the partner, they invested in a relationship, and then that feeling of love came back. Because if you choose for love, love will come. That feeling of love will come. Also, personal growth is needed. And when you watch Hollywood movies, especially the older ones, you feel like you just need the perfect partner and then personal growth is not needed. And I think that's what the generation above us kind of also never really did or understood. Just the very happy couples. And I think in the past 5 years, there's been a turning point in that, and we are so much more aware of personal growth and that that is needed. I mean, 10 years ago, that was weird to work on yourself. It's like then something was wrong with you if you needed to work on yourself. And I think that's what a lot of couples from the past decennia thought. It was just you don't grow, you don't work on yourself, you don't heal old wounds and triggers, because that is also necessary. So there were only pretty much a select few that did that on their own and realized that that was needed for their marriage or for their relationship. And that is something you never really see in Hollywood movies, especially the older ones. So maybe in the past few years, there's been a few that came out that this was actually a thing. But personal growth normally is never portrayed in the movies. Taking responsibility for your behavior and actions and healing old wounds and triggers and knowing that it's not the partner, but it's triggers inside of you that have to do with you. Oh, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? If there would be Hollywood movies that actually portrayed this, I would so watch that. Um, and knowing that love and being in love can grow for the rest of your life if you build and invest, that is such a beautiful thing to know. And that is something I don't see in movies either. It's always about the finding the one and the perfect one, and then everything will just, you are super in love and that's going to last the rest of your life. It's not that they focus on building that love. Again, in the past few years, maybe there are more movies that show this, but yeah, this is something happy couples definitely know, that love and being in love can grow for the rest of your life. And then when you know that, you invest in that way. So it's very important to know that. And then happily ever after is a lifelong adventure. It's not that you get through that tumultuous beginning and then you marry and then all of a sudden it's happily ever after. It's something you work on every day. It's something you choose every day. You choose love, you choose to be loving, you choose to grow whenever that is needed. These are literal words from the couples that I interviewed. You grow if that is needed from you. And that is such a different picture than what Hollywood portrays. And that is just sad. I think that's really sad, that we all grew up with these images of love that are not only not true, not realistic, but they are actually harming us and causing us to be more unhappy than we had to have to be. I mean, there's so much more potential in your relationship probably if you would have a realistic view of what a happy relationship is. And that's what I want for you. That's what I want you to experience. I want you to experience more happiness, more ease. And it's not going to be easy if you have the wrong beliefs about what a relationship is, because then you're trying to mold your relationship or your partner into something that is just not realistic. It could be that your partner is actually completely fine the way he or she is, and there's a great potential for love. You just are looking for it in the wrong direction and in the wrong images. Okay, I could talk about this for hours. Very passionate about this because it has such a much bigger impact than we realize. Um, but I'm going to leave it at this. If you have any questions about this, if you're curious, want to know more, please let me know in the comments below. I love talking about this. And as always, I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one. Healed and Happy is a tailor-made online program where me and my team personally guide you through healing the roots of a fearful avoidant attachment style.